Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Untitled Reviews. This being a show where we talk about TV shows that are dramas. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about Squid Game Season 1, Episode 6. A great episode. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. First and foremost, we're picking up with Junho. He's still managing to avoid detection by anyone in the games. Obviously the leader gets a call from someone, so even he's just kind of like lower management. He's talking to someone, he's collaborating with someone. I think even he's like middle management in his own regards, like he still answers to someone else, but it's like, right, there's kind of a disturbance, but we're moving along. And so that's kind of all we got for Junho this episode. Then we go back to all the players gathered, and so we have you have Gi-hun looking after player number one, like, hey, here's my jacket, cover yourself up. Like, no, you look pretty good, let's go. And so they leave, and lo and behold, the Doctor 111, him, as well as the other 3 or 4 traitors are like displayed, and it's like, yeah, I'm so, and basically the players were given an apology of like, right, we're sorry that this happened. Some people try to manipulate the situation, and Gyaksu is kind of looking like, oh, crap. It's like, right, because they hadn't heard from the Doctor for a while, and now they find out what happened, and it's like, right, no advantage for you this time. So I love that Neo was kind of all happy about it because she got to rub it in his face and like, oh yeah, like your doctor friend's dead, no cheating for you this time. But this next game, they basically got to pair up, and the moment that happened, I was like, yeah, we're definitely heading in the direction of like, it went there a lot faster than I thought it would, but it was the thing of like, because like, yeah, like these past two, this round 3 and 4 have been about teaming up. The point is, like, get closer to people, because these are going to be the same people. You're going to have to stab them in the back, because once again, based on the information that Junho found last episode, there's only one winner. Like, not multiple people can win this. It all comes down to only one winner. And like, who knows what that final game looks like? Who knows what the final 2 games look like? But regardless, it is about like, right, we got to find a partner. It's like 2 people. So Sangwoo and Ali work together, which you have Ji-hoon being like, oh no, it's cool, it's gone, you guys fine, I'll find someone else. But also like Sabiok and what was it, 240 end up leaving, because it's like, right, because they're girls. It's like, right, last time you almost got screwed over because the last competition called for men, just because, from a biological standpoint, like, men are considered like typically genetic, so it's just like, right, you don't want to be at a disadvantage again, so it's like, screw you guys, because at first Ji-hoon stops her, but she just like, what, you're going to join up with me, a girl? And he doesn't say anything, and it's just like, right, because Minio is trying to still make herself see, but it's like, no, join up with me, like, I can do this for you, I can do that and that. So everyone's kind of tossing her to the side, and the old man comes over to Ji-hoon, and he's like, no, and it's like, no, here, they might look at you as weak if you don't have your jacket. And he gives him the number 1, and he meets another guy that was like, hey, let's team up together, you and me, we could do some good together. But it's like, yeah, you might want to team up. He's like, because when it comes down to like, whoever doesn't have a teammate most likely is going to end up dead, because you won't be able to, because now that 111 is gone, the numbers aren't even, so somebody's going to be without a partner. So it's like, if you are, it's, and he was saying like number 1 most likely would be. So that made Ji-hoon go like, right, no, we've been in this together, like, right, I got your back, partner. And he's like, yeah, and they shake hands and they become partners. And sadly, at the end of the day, because 240 and Sabiok shake hands on it, because it's like, right, I can see you being a winner, and it's like, well, that's how you see me, so like, we can do this together. But Neo ends up being the only one that doesn't have one. She's going around everybody. She even goes to Gyaksu, and it's like telling the guys like, hey, don't trust him. The doctor, he was working with him, but it's like, right. She gets tossed aside. Everyone just assumes she got killed, but she gets dragged away. I'm like, if they were going to kill her, they would have done it there. So I think she actually being the odd person out, I think benefits you in that game. I think at the end of the day, like it wasn't accounted for, but they probably have contingencies planned upon that. It's like if they wanted her dead, they would have killed her immediately, I think. But I think it's like she got and I guess because the problem is it is fair because like the whole point of the game is meant to be designed to be fair, right? So the only thing they can do, it's like, well, in a sense, you kind of technically move forward. Yeah, it's kind of unfair because you get to like skip over the game, not unless there were some extenuating circumstances or there was something else she had to play instead. We don't know because we don't see her the entire rest of the episode. But it's like, I guess the argument could be like, well, 111 is dead, so technically you already passed the game because of that. So whoever was going to be the last person who didn't have a partner was automatically going to be exempt from the game because of that. They automatically get a pass, or I don't know. We'll have to wait and see like how they skate around there. But I don't think they killed her. I think she's going to come back super cocky as hell and be like, "Oh, you didn't choose me? Screw you guys!" Middle fingers to everybody. But obviously everyone's paired up, and now it turns into a game of like they get a whole bunch of, everyone gets 10 marbles each. It's like, right, cool. So now it's like, right, we're gonna do what we're gonna do together. You have like Ali and some will be like, yeah, like we're in this together, yeah, we're such a team, awesome, great. And then immediately the game turns into everyone's out for themselves because you have to play a game, any game you want to, but once you have to basically take the 10 marbles from the other person. So whoever walks away with all 20 marbles wins and the other person loses. So it's like, right, we were put together so that we could kill each other. So it's like, that sucks. So let's start breaking down the situations. You have Sang-woo and his him and Ali, and he was like explaining to Ali like the evens and odds of how it works. It's like, right, you guess how many are in my hand, and if you guess right, it comes down to how much you wager, and you get that many. If I lose, you get that many of my like morals and stuff like that. So the thing is, Ali kept winning over and over and over again, which Sang-woo even to the point like snap, being like, "No, you can't, like, no, like you must be cheating or something like that," because he got desperate. Because like the thing is, him and Sang-woo and Ali, like, they bonded. Like, it's just like, right, like they spent the previous night together and like learning about, like, you know, Sang-woo understands like why he understands why Ali does what he's doing. But the thing is, if you notice, like, Sang-woo didn't ever really go into what his circumstances is, because later on he's begging, it's like, "Oh, my family, they'll be killed." It's like, I mean, no, like, you're gonna, like, I mean, not unless you probably ripped off some terrible people, but it's like, your mom isn't gonna, she's gonna lose everything, but she's not gonna get killed. It's like he was saying that just to make Ali, because he was hoping Ali would be more sympathetic, but it is a situation of like, right, Ali's doing this very similarly to you. He's doing it for his family. But you can almost say, like, well, Sang-woo is also, like, more I mean, everyone's in it for themselves. It's just the nature of the game. But everyone else also has other things on the line, too. But for Sang-woo, it is self-preservation because he's going to go to jail for a long time. But it also means his mom losing everything, so he wants to try and make things right. But the fact is, he's lying like that, like, "Oh, my family's going to get killed." Trying to sway Ali. But it's also like, right, like Sang-woo, they introduced the fact is that he is the pragmatist. He's willing to do whatever he needs to win. Like, he had an idea during game 2, and he didn't let Ali, Ji-hoon, or player number 1 know what was what. So, you know, but then, like, obviously, like, that all kind of got put aside during game 3. But here we are in game 4. It's everyone for themselves. And so, because initially Ali didn't want to do this. He was like, no, I don't want to. But it's like, right, they don't have a choice. There has to be a winner and loser in the game. But then Sang-woo was like, now that he's like down to like his last marble, it's like, no, I know what we can do. We can both win. And it's like, how? There's no way. Like, this game is going to be a constant winning and losing. And there might be some people that haven't won, or like there might not be a definitive winner, because someone at the end of the 30 minutes might not have like all of the their opponent's marbles. So, you know, he was trying to say, like, we could use this situation to our advantage, and, you know, we could go, like, put hours together and be our, like, you know, put our 10 together each and make 20, and we challenge someone else, and then we get their marbles. That way, when it's all said and done, like, we got the 20 marbles we each need. That way we can move on together. And it's like, do you think that would really work? It's like, no. Like, you know that they probably I mean, there's no, I mean, we don't know. There was never any like necessary rules saying that you couldn't do that, but I think they're pretty clear about what the rules are, and it's like those rules, like you can probably squirm your way around it, but it's still like you still have the confines of the rules of just being like it probably wouldn't have worked. Maybe it would have, but Song-woo definitely wasn't going to be taking any chances. So he ends up tricking Ali. He makes Ali think like, oh, like, you're taking my bag, like this is the bag with all the marbles. But it's like, no, he took it and is holding on to it, and he gave Ali a bag full of rocks. And he's like, right, I got it without using violence, so I win. And Ali's like doing everything he can. He's looking for other people. He's like, oh, I can help. But then he finds out like Song-woo betrayed him at the very end. You know, it's like, right. You know, it's like it was always going to come down to this. Like, but this is the complication is now like much like the games have gotten to the point now you are directly responsible for someone dying. Like the tug of war game, by you winning, you're killing someone else. And this, by winning, you're killing someone else. At least the first two games is kind of everyone out for themselves. You kind of like you're kind of the only one that gets to determine whether or not you live or die. Now this is kind of it's on everybody type of situation. So Song-woo kind of wins his circumstances. You go to Deok-soo and his boy, was it 278? And I love that bastard flipped the switch. Well, at first he was like, wait, so was what Neo was saying about like the doctor, like, was that true? It's like, no, she'll say whatever she can just to like get in your head. But like 278 had a flip. He was like, oh wait, you thought because I called you boss and stuff like that? He's like, no, you idiot. Oh, get ready to die. Like he had a flip because it's like, oh, I'm only playing along because I want to make like, you know, you were the strongest, so I needed someone to kind of like, yeah, sure, boss, whatever. And it's like, no, like, you know, Ji-hoon made it clear, like, last episode, like, can you really trust any of these people? It's like, no, because they are just as scumbaggish as Deok-soo is. And so he comes down, it gets near the end of his situation, so it's like, oh, 278's almost won, and Deok-soo's like, right, let's switch games. And he was like, no, why would I switch games? I'm winning. But then he goes to one of the people, the administrators, and it's like, no, this is supposed to be a fair game, right? So we need to switch it so that it kind of can be an even enough playing field. And he's like, all right, fine. So they switch to games. Deok-soo digs a hole. Every time, like, basically, every time they throw the ball, like a marble, and it lands in a hole, any missed shots, they collect all the marbles, and at the very end, just with Deok-soo's last marble didn't make it, but 278's marble bounced off a rock, and I was like, oh, there's no way Deok-soo's gonna lose. It's like he's gonna win somehow. It's like it's gonna be like rules of just like, right, yours is gonna knock his in, and it does. Bounces off a rock and knocks his in. He's like, I won, and Deok-soo wins. And 278 tries to run, but he gets lit up. So that poor bastard, it's like, yeah, all that shit talking you were doing, and you got capped, man. Because he just thought, oh, I had it in the bag, and just obviously everything like took a change like that. So along the same, obviously we have Sabyok and 240. So 240 is kind of suggesting like, right, we'll have a game that bets it all. It's like, but she's like, right, why like rush it? Like let's talk in the meantime. So I wanted to understand more about her circumstances, why she joined the game. So we are, as the audience, already got an insight, but we got a lot more, like finding out like her dad is dead. Her mom made it to China, but like some people sent to retrieve like found her and sent her back to North Korea. So the only people here are her and her little brother. So she wants to get enough money to have a place for her and her little brother because he's currently living in a shelter. And then, you know, wants to be able to get her mom and bring her. Like, that was always the plan. And 240 is like, oh, like, don't you want to have, like, bigger plans? And she's like, yeah, like, other than that, I probably want to go to, like, was it Jeju Island? And it's like, why would you want to go there? It's like, because she saw a commercial for, like, she saw it on TV and it seemed like such an exotic place because it didn't seem like any place in Korea, you know? And, because it's like, right, also like, what was her first experience with death? And for her, there was like a plague that went through her, well, it went from village to village, and basically soldiers came and basically piled the bodies up and burned them. So she saw that happen to her older brother, like, what was it, her grandma and her grandpa? So it's like, Jesus. And like 240 is like, yeah, your stories are dark. It's like, I don't think I can handle like this much dark and depressing. But she was also suggesting, like, right, you should, like, get a mojito. And it's like, mojito? It's like, yeah, like, and go to the Maldives. Like, go to Hawaii. So, no, go to, like, the Maldives, have a mojito. And she's, like, referencing, like, a movie. It's like, oh, yeah, he's got that particular actor in it, you know. Go to the mojito to get a glass full of Maldives or something like that. And she's like, you know what? When it's all said and done, we could go together or something. And then it's like, she's like, oh, right. Sorry, of course, like, we can't go because one of us is going to die here. And she kept catching herself like that because we also learned about 240 shit. I mean, once again, that's the thing of, like, everyone here, it's not like everyone's like, oh, man, like everyone has their own tragedies. Like, obviously, Deoksu is, like, the biggest, like, yeah, out of everyone, he's the biggest asshole. Because everyone else's circumstances, it's just like life dealt them a terrible hand. But, I mean, the argument could be, like, Deoksu could be the same thing, but regardless, like, he just, in the grand scheme of things, he seems like the biggest piece of crap amongst everyone. But 240, we learned the first dead body she ever saw was her mom's, because her dad was standing over it with a knife. And then, like, the next body she saw was her dad's because she killed him for, like, it's like, yeah, like, he used to hit her mom, and then also he hit her mom, and also what he did to her, you know. So it's like, and also it added some interesting context. She was saying that her father used to, like, pray all the time. So I'm like, right, praying dude that's a part of the team, no wonder you had beef with him, because, like, he reminded you too much of your dad. Like, anytime he did something terrible, it's like, right, you want to excuse yourself, you know. And it's like, even she said, like, yeah, the day he killed my mom, he didn't pray to God, because I guess it's like they're just some sins that are just too heavy for forgiveness, like to beg for or ask for forgiveness. So I think that, because he was also being, like, saying all that, he's like, right, the rib came from Adam and Eve and blah 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 blah, trying to justify, like, right, they needed a team of men and not team of women, or partnered up with women. So, but kind of learning, like, right, 240, like, she had her own struggles. And the fact is, like, when she got out of, the day she got out of prison, she thought the guy that was coming to her is like, oh, here's a guy after my dad's debt. And it's like, no, it was someone that brought her into the game. So she wasn't even out of prison long before, like, all this happened. It's like, right, knowing that you spent, like, God knows how many years in prison because of that. Like, you killed your dad, but he was a piece of crap, you know? So it's just like, you know, it's like both of them are in terrible situations. It's like you want both of them to win. You want there to be a loophole on this, but there's not. And so 240 says, like, right, the game is going to be this. Whoever throws their marble closest to that wall wins it all. And, you know, Sabiako's like, yeah, this is my name. And it's like, oh. And it's like we learned 240's name is, Ji-Young? Ji-Young. And, yeah, they play, and Sabiak goes first, because it's like, right, your number's lower than mine. But when it comes down to it, Ji-Young throws the game. She's like, oh, like, that was kind of too. But Sabiak is like, no, do it again. And it's like, you know, but it's like, right, you have something waiting for you. She's like, I don't. Like, when you asked me, like, if I got the money, like, what would I do? Because she was like, I never thought about it before. Because for her, it's like, I have no family left. It's like, you still got your mom, you still got your brother, you can't die here. You got to find a way to win and keep living. So, like, me, on the other hand, like, at the very least, she's like, if I can make it so that you get to live, then it's okay, you know? And it's just, it's, you know, it's heartbreaking, because it's like, right, she's sacrificing herself for your sake. Because the other cases of, like, Songwoo, like, he tricked Ali. Deoksu was just changed the situation in his favor. So, like, they were both douchebags. So, like, who cares? But then you have, like, Sabiak's situation as well as Jihoon's situation, because him and number one, they locked fingers. They're Gganbu, which is the title of the episode, which is, like, friends who trust in each other. I guess it's just like, I wonder, is it like a full-blown, like, it's just like the Korean for, like, a friend, or is there a little more to the translation? Like the equivalency I would know, like, based on, like, animes and stuff like that, would be Nakama. Like, to me, Nakama sounds like Gganbu, and, like, Nakama, like, just, like, sounds so much better than just friend, you know? Because I only know Nakama because, like, you know, I watch enough anime where it's like, the one that always comes to my mind is, like, One Piece. Like, I feel like I heard that a lot more in, like, One Piece than I did, like, Naruto. But I'm sure they said it in Naruto, too. But it's just like, you know, it's just like, right, me and my Nakama. Because I know Luffy says Nakama a lot. At least to my recollection, when it comes to Japanese version of One Piece. But regardless, it's supposed in that moment now it's like, right, we're against each other. And the old number one, he's kind of having one of his episodes, and he's like, right, because him and June brought up the fact is that this neighborhood looked like one that they both grew up in, and so he's kind of looking all over the place, and Ji-hoon like yells at him and shaking him. It's like, let's play the game, and he's like, okay, just stop yelling at me. But the old man kept winning each and every time, and then when it finally comes down to it, Ji-hoon only has one marble left finally, and it's like he bets it and loses, but the old man's like, oh, what did you bet again? And he just picks the opposite. It's like, right, my partner is, he's sick, and I'm taking advantage of it, and he's winning over and over again, and even gets to the last ones. And despite everything, it's like, I have to win. I have to get out of this alive. Like, one of us is going to die. Like, it's just kind of like it sucks. Got to suck it up. Got to do it. And he thought he won, but he only had 19 marbles because, number one, he had hidden one more marble away. And so it's like, oh, like, and Ji-hoon's trying to trace him down, be like, right, we only got a couple minutes, so, like, let's do this. Let's play one more time. But then, like, they go to the address. He's like, oh, like, this reminds me of the place, like, I raised my son and everything. He's also talking about, like, oh, yeah, because at one point during it, he was like, oh, it's my son's birthday. I got to get him something. And so when it comes down to it, the old man's like, right, one more game, Well, how about we bet it all? He's like, are you crazy? Like, why would I do something? That doesn't make any sense. He's like, does it make any sense taking advantage of your friend? And it's like, so either he was playing this entire time, because I didn't know whether it's because when he was like, oh, what did I pick? Or what did you pick? I didn't know whether or not he was doing that on purpose, whether he was trying to let Ji-hoon win, or was he just literally like, lost in his mind at that time. But it's at the very least, he was cognizant enough in this moment that either he would have been playing Ji-hoon the entire time trying to let him win, or this time it's just a situation of he just says it all at the end of like, like you've been manipulating me, like we're supposed to be friends, right? And then like Ji-hoon feels so bad about it. It's like, right, I can't believe it's like, right, I am a terrible person for it. But then he gives the final marble to him, and it's like, no, like you take this. It's like, we are friends, and it's like, thank you for making it very exciting to the very end. And it's just like the most heartbreaking thing, because it's like, and then he like Ji-hoon's breaking down crying because he's like, he didn't want it this way. He knows what he did. He's like, he feels terrible about it. He knows how shitty it was, but it's still like, it's just the nature of things. And the old man hugs him. He's like, no, it's okay. You got it. You keep going. And he's like, but for him, it's like, he knew his time was limited anyway, but it still doesn't change the fact. It's like, at the very end, he's like, we are friends, right? So it's like, he's, despite everything, despite me cheating and everything, you still consider me a friend, And it's like, because I think for the old man, it's like, despite everything, like what this game kind of put us in this position of, you were still my friend. You helped me out every step of the way. So you were the only person that was really nice to me. And as Ji-hoon is leaving, the old man's like, oh, I finally remember what my name is. I think it was like, it's Il-nam. And, and it's just like, legitimately, all around, because like all the stories kind of, well, they're the last ones. But, like, the Sangwoo thing and Ali, it sucked. The Sabiak and, Ji-hoon situations, they legitimately brought me to tears. Because the sad thing is, like, Ali, like, trusted him, like, everything, like, y'all went through the trouble building this team together. The whole point was, like, to tear that apart. It's like, it's like, get close to these people so it makes it harder. It makes these games going forward harder, like, when these are people you're so, like, everyone is in this for themselves, and it's like, right, you buddied up with some people. Like, that's why they specifically made the last game a 10-person team, because, once again, creating that situation of, like, right, the next, and that's also to cause this like complication, because it's like, right, the next game we play, we can never assume what the next rules are going to be. Like, the next game might be a team game where we're going to be against each other, or maybe we have to work together. But it's like, Sabiak had the hardest time trusting anyone, because like, how can I trust anyone? Because everyone's here for the same reason. Ji-yeon's goodbye, she was like, thank you to her. It was like heartbreaking. And just a situation with, like I said, I think his name was Il-nam, number one. It was like, legitimately, I had to fight. Like I felt the tear roll down my eye. Like after the ending episode, I had to take a break. I was like, man, this is depressing. You know, it was going to come. Like that's always my problem with like stuff like this. The nature of that's also why I'm like reluctant to ever read Battle Royale or even watch it. Just because I know like it's going to be heartbreaking stuff like that. Oh, here's some characters you're going to get attached to. Be prepared for them to die. Like there's plenty of manga I've read, manga and manhwa that are like depressing as hell. Like this, where like there are characters you get attached to that are dead. Like I've brought this one up recently in comparison to another show, but Cage of Eden. That is a gut wrenching like. I mean, and I didn't even finish all of it, but like that was just a depressing ass like manga. There's just so many. Like I know Zetman, depressing. Deadman Wonderland, uber depressing. I mean, Full Metal Alchemist, come on, dude, like, man, I think like Asian media can get you in a way like they are like. I mean, like I think American television can evoke those emotions from you, but it's just like. I can list off like, I mean, like, don't get me wrong, like, I've cried American television or Canadian television too, but it's just like, I don't know, it's something about Asian television that is just like, they know how to invoke that emotion, like, they know, like, what to do to hit hard. I mean, especially, like, this is the type of thing that will hit hard, but this in turn just makes me think of all these other series of like, because there are certain series I never finished, I'm like, man, that's just too heartbreaking and too depressing, like when just characters are dropping dead. It's just like, especially under this circumstance, because it's like these are because obviously it's like 240 we've only been with her since game 3, but like player 1 he's been there since the beginning, and Ali too, especially because it's like, right, he saved Ji-hoon in the first game, so it's sad for things to kind of play out like this. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see where the next episode takes us with all of this. There's only 3 episodes left in the season, so and only 2 games left too. So that's definitely going to be interesting to see how they shake that up. 2 games left, 3 episodes. So we'll see how that kind of ends up getting played out. Because obviously there's going to be a break in between game 4 and 5. So like probably game 5 will probably start. I would assume like. It will like cliffhanger in episode 7 and start episode 8. I mean, who knows? Like episode 7 could be entirely like the in between. We could get caught up on other stuff, but yeah, cause we didn't have time to process and deal with the aftermath of this because Ji-hoon walking away after Inam got killed. It's like that's the last shot of the episode, so. They're all gonna have to live with like the choices that they made this episode. Like they still have to live with that like next episode. Once again, finding out what Minyo's fate ended up being. So it's definitely gonna be interesting to see where the next episode takes us. But really, that's all I want to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.